Seneca, Natural Questions, Book 5, 10.4. And because of this, from the solstice onwards, this is the beginning to them. Okay, so these are the winds, the illus, and so after the solstice, now the wind begins. And ultra, beyond the arising of the canicula, the dog stars, these winds do not prevail. So this is a time period where the winds happen. And because now, from the cold part of the heavens, much is the gestum, comes from egero. Much is driven off or moved, and the sun, with a change in its course after the solstice, we know the sun goes to a point and then reverses. More directly, it comes into our region, and another part of the air, another direction of the air is drawn in, and however, or moreover, another is impelled or repelled. So the sun moves in the sky, and we're getting different sort of viewpoints from Earth. Okay, so this part of the air is usually defined as part of the atmosphere. Anyway, thus, this blast of winds of the Etesiarum winds, this breaks the summer heat, and defends with a bit of gravitas, a bit of heavily, from the very hot months, from the ferventissimorum of the mensiums. Okay, if you wanted to treat that as a bi, it'd be defending from the severity of those heat. 11.1. Now, what I promised must be spoken of why these Etesian winds do not help us, and neither do they confer anything to this cause. We said before light, so before dawn, these breezes are incited, and the same, they subside when the sun touches them. And yet, the Etesian winds, because of this reason, that I guess that the sun kicks in, by sailors they are called somniculos and delicati, sleepy and delicate's probably not the right word. What do they call it? I'll just look this up. Blah, blah, blah. Can't see it. Anyway, because, as Gallio, Seneca's brother, says, they don't know how to get up in the morning. In this same time, almost, or around this same time, they begin to produce incipients to begin, actually, where not even the most stubborn type of breeze does. Okay, so he's comparing another type of breeze to these other types of wind, which would not happen if the sun diminished these as it does those, ut in illos. So he's talking about early morning breezes and how the causes are different really from these Etesian northwest winds. Okay. Now the Loeb translates delicatus as lazy. It seems the best thing in Lewis and Short would be at one's ease tardy and slowly. It says it's here coupled with segnata. Usually you see it's delicate, addicted to pleasure. So I think somniculos means sleepy and lazy. 11.12. Add now that if the cause of these winds is the space of the day and its length, also before the solstice these winds should be flarenting, blasting or blowing. When the days are very long, and when greatly or especially the snow has tabescunted, has melted away. For Julius's month, July, now everything is despoiled, all the wasted away water, I guess it's gone, and certainly fully a very small amount still is lying under the snow. 12.1. There are certain genera of winds which are broken clouds, and they emit These things, when they are saluta, loose and they're in pronum, and the clouds are lying down. The Greeks vocant these winds, whatever that is, Ganephius, which means Pliny calls them cloudbursts or something. As I think, which in this way they happen or become, when great inequalities in dissimilitude of these bodies or particles, which the terrestrial vapour emits, it goes up into sublime, up high. And some from these bodies are dry and others are wet. From such discordance of the bodies fighting amongst themselves, they conglob into one glob. They come all together and coagulate. It's very probably that the clouds cause certain cavities, and the intervals amongst these which are left are fistulosa, like pipes, and in the way of a flute of a it means narrow, and in a narrow type of flute. That's that's AE, and that's A, so I guess they're all going together. Okay, 12.2. Okay, so there was a narrow fistula, narrow pipe was left. Spiritus tenuis, thin air is shut in these little intervals, which are between the holes in the flute, which desire more space. When it has a leastly free course and it's reverberated, it's beaten around, it incalwates, it heats up, and because of this it amplifies, becomes larger. It skinned it bursts its girdle or thing that hems it in, and it breaks out into wind, which is almost storm-like, which superne, which from above is sent down, and onto us it falls vehemently and fiercely, because it's not diffuse or spread out, and nor does it venet, nor does it come through an aperture or an opening, but it struggles and labours, and it prepares a path for itself via force and fight. Hic fere brevis. So this is very much a short wind, because the receptaculia of the clouds, the receptacle of the clouds through which it's carried along in these clouds, it breaks. So it breaks the receptacle and the fortifications of the cloud, the munimenta. For this reason it comes very tumultuous. Sometimes it's not without fire and the sounds from the sky, so it's not without thunder and lightning. 12.3. High venti. These winds are bigger and longer lasting by much. If some winds also, for the same reason, come rushing in to themselves, they're taken away, and into one conflux manis. So many of these winds that are rushing about, they come into one. Just as torrents of water of a modest magnitude, as long as they are separate, as long as they have separate courses, but when many waters convert in on themselves or come together from a flood, they exceed the magnitude of the regular rivers and the general way that they are, their perennium, the continual way they are.